Please don't have shouting.
Please mute your mics if you are not speaking. Thank you. Right. So good evening, everyone. Right.
Good
so this
evening.
is not the class, right? This is not the class. It's just
Good evening.
open office hours, and I'm going to be answering whatever question you have. Python, right? Duke, please can you mute your mic? Right, thank you. So yeah, so if you have any question you would like to ask, just raise your hand and then I'll call you and then you ask your questions. Probably if you want to share your screen also. Chikere, please can you make me host? I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I beg.
All right. Okay. Coordinator is still hosting. All right, anyways, so if you have questions, just raise your hand, like the icon, and then I'll call you. Then you can. Yeah, right. So I just wanted to make the class interactive. I know you've held on YouTube. So I wanted the class to be interactive. Yeah, hello. Right. So I can you go ahead and ask your question? You can unmute now. Ask to unmute. Thank you, Chikere.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, bro. Sorry, what's the name?
The name is Ibokon. Sorry, let me rename myself on Zoom. Sorry about that.
You just go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, so majorly about this, what's it called? This Django, the Django.
Mm-hmm.
So now, creating a virtual environment on Django. I would just like to know each virtual environment I create, will I need to install the Django inside the virtual environment, or the Django I originally installed on my PC works for everything?
All right. Thank you very much for that question. So the way it is, right? A virtual environment is some sort of light version of a working environment. For example, if you have a PC now and you install like a PC environment and operating system, right? And a virtual environment is just like a light version that you can install packages or install softwares on. So in this case, you're only installing like packages you need, dependencies you need, or stuff like that. So now for each project, why virtual environment is advisable is because for each project, you would need different dependencies. Even if you are going to, sometimes you are installing the same dependency, but you need different version. You know, there are versions of each packages, right? So if that is why it is advisable to use virtual environments for each of your projects. Now,
what do you call it? Sorry, come again.
I said that is why it is advisable, right, to use a virtual environment for each project you're going to create, right?
Oh, okay.
And yes, so because of packages issues, to avoid packages issues, and also it's also makes collaboration easy, right?
Okay.
Yeah, basically it's very advisable to use virtual environment. Do you have any question? Did I answer your question?
You haven't answered it though.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I understand what you just explained. I made me understand virtual environment better now. But now,
Right.
what I'm asking is, if I'm setting up a virtual environment now for each project now, in that virtual environment, will I have to install Django in the file? The Django inside each file, each virtual environment I'm creating. Probably I want to create a project now. I use this virtual environment. Another project I'm using another virtual environment. Each virtual environment, am I going to be installing Django inside it while setting it up?
Yes. If you are going to work on a Django project, then you have to install Django in that virtual environment. For each virtual environment, or yeah, for each virtual environment, you have to install Django.
Okay.
Because like the global environment in this case, like your PC, or but eventually you've installed Django on your global environment and you create a virtual environment, it won't work, right? You will still have to install Django, right?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so that's a question. I have more questions though, but let other people go then if there's more time.
Thank you. Covenants. Can you unmute?
Unmute. Great. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
So, okay, I'm going to just jump into it right now. So I already started before I got into this program. I was already learning, and I was learning with APIs with FastAPI before, but I didn't really make it far. You get what I mean, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this tool, I get that is different from the other one, but they're just different ways of doing the same thing.
Are there those different ways of doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Is that your question? Are you talking about Django?
That is my first question.
Django and FastAPI.
Django and FastAPI, exactly, yeah.
Right. So to my understanding of FastAPI, it's also a web framework, but basically it's for developing RESTful APIs, right? REST APIs. So it's like Django REST framework, right? Django can be used to build like a web application, and also can be used to build APIs, right? But FastAPI, to my knowledge, is only used for developing RESTful APIs. I don't know if I answer your question right.
Oh yeah, you clarified that. I understand that now. Okay, good. Then for the second one, this is a more general question, a specific, but what is like the career path? Like not really career path per se, but like roadmap per se for backend development with Python. I usually see like a lot of JavaScript, so I'm like, what is the backend development part like with Python?
In Python, well, it varies for each individual, right? For me, I started Python directly, right? So now I don't even really know much JavaScript, right? Though I write to React sometimes. Well, I think I started off with Python, and then I liked Python programming language, and I just dived into Django. So that was it for me. To be honest, I don't think you really need an idea of if you are going to be full backend, right? It's good to have the idea of HTML, CSS, just like know how to navigate your way around them. But I don't think it's really necessary like for backend like that. So Python, Django, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Why you need to know them is why you need to like have idea of it is some if you are building like a web app, right? You would have to use HTML and CSS and JavaScript.
Yeah.
Hence, the full stack course for those that are full time, right?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Covenants. Okay, what else there? iPhone, is your hand up again, or this is a different iPhone? Duke, can you go ahead, please? Hello, Duke, can you go ahead? Okay. I mean, can you go ahead? So you can ask technical questions, right? Maybe you have something you've been battling with and you would like to share your screen, and we'll see how we can go about it together.
Oh, okay. Hello. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
So it seems we're getting to like the really interesting part of using Python for web apps. So just curious, like what are the other things that you're going to learn and API? I don't know. Or like you can just give an idea of like the other things you learn during the training.
I'm not sure I really understand your question. Is it like the syllabus for the training? Are you asking like the syllabus for the training? What other things will be in the syllabus? Can you hear me? Hello? You're muted. I mean.
Okay, so I was muted. Yes, like the syllabus for the training.
I'm not really sure about that. I think the syllabus was shared. I can't say really. Eniola, I don't know, maybe you can clarify that. But I know you would have to like the basics of Python, right? Lists, dictionaries, classes and objects.
Okay.
Like those basic concepts are like very important for you to like grasp very well. Or you can, because Django itself is based on classes and objects to be sincere. So you have to really like know how classes and objects works, the concept behind them, and data structures, lists, tuples, dictionaries, right? Yeah, so basically it's step by step, right? I think you don't need to like rush it. Yeah, so we still have about eight weeks to go, so we'll see how it goes. I mean,
All right. Thanks.
thank you for your question.
Okay, so Femi, I wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Chike.
Okay, so I want to say that we didn't like release the full curriculum, but we release the topics as you go. So if you check your calendar, you see future topics that you learn. So just constantly be checking your calendar. That is where we update the calendar based on the topics we're going to treat. So just constantly keep checking your calendar.
All right, thank you for that, Chike. Yep. Duke, I've requested that you unmute. Let me do that again. You should receive a notification to unmute now.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so when creating the pip virtual environment, I'm running into an error that says the virtual environment can't be created on this system. How can I fix that?
So can be created. Is it like you can't install virtual environment, or you're able to install it and then you can't create?
Like it seems like the part it said I can't create the virtual environment in the part I chose.
Okay. So you're on which operating system?
Windows.
Windows. Okay. I would advise you to uninstall it, right, and install it again. And if that doesn't work, you can try to make sure. I don't know if you know how to check your environmental variables. Maybe I should let you know. Okay, so you can try to. I don't know if you know how to check it. Let me just share my screen and see if I can show you quickly. So search settings. Is it now? dependencies. So under advanced system settings, under environmental variables, so you can check like if you have the path to Python or something, right? So I don't really use Python. I don't use Windows for my work, so that's why I don't have it here, right? But you have to make sure you have Python there, and then yeah, so and then the environmental variable or something. So I guess that can work. So the issue with environment on Windows, seriously, that was why I left Windows, because Windows have a lot of like issues with packages and stuff. So, but there are ways to like, well, just try to add it to parts and see what happens. If not, then you can still like message me on Slack, and then you'll see. I noticed a lot of people having that issue, right? Yeah. So that was why I put it from Windows anyways, because of issues with installation and everything. But there's always a solution. So try to add it to the environment as I showed you, and then let's see what happens. Did I answer your question? You're muted. All right. Oreo hack.
All right, Orion has C. Good evening.
Sorry about that. Good evening.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I have a question. I tried to create a model as the Python class we had last time, when after the tutor created a virtual environment, he actually created two models of a school and a country.
Mm-hmm.
I followed up everything he did, but I couldn't come up with any answer to that. And sorry, when I was trying to create my virtual environment, I ran virtual env and then named the virtual environment. It didn't come up. So I noticed that some machines you have to run python-m virtual env before you name the virtual environment. That was the first issue before I couldn't create the model. So I want to know if there is any workaround how to get this model working. I've already I've already created an administrator. I've forgotten the name, administrator, whatever. Then, but yeah, it's just to get the models working and maybe do some other things on.
Yeah, right. So the second issue with virtual environments, I think it's something that is very common with Windows. Even when you install Python, there is always that issue. So like Python is not a recognized external or internal, I don't even know. So it's always to check the environmental variables. Just
variables.
Check
to check the paths
So
in the
once you check the path and make sure it's there, it would work. It will recognize it. So that's the instructions. On the model, I'm not really sure. What error are you getting exactly? So
there were no errors. It was just run. I'll open up the local host. Then I won't see the new models that I created. It was just
on the admin, right? The admin.
Yes.
Okay, so what you need to do is you have to register the models. So if you check admin.py, right, you have to register your models there. Admin.sign.register. So you import the models there and then you register them. Yep.
All right. I'll try that out. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
David.
Good day.
Hi.
I just want to add something to what you were saying before. I also had that error that someone had about the activation of the environment. So what I actually did was, I think it was from the PowerShell. So I went to my command prompt and opened my file from there. And like I could activate, I could do everything comfortably on my command prompt, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
sure.
not actually a programmer or anything. I just started this program, so it's actually very
Yeah,
fun for me. But
yeah,
so I went to my command prompt and I could activate, I could create, and I could complete that task. So I think instead of just going too far, because I thought that when I searched the Microsoft, because it's a link they gave there, so I read the instruction they gave there. They're like, it's like a security stuff for Windows. So I just left it like that
okay.
and I followed the command prompt. So I
Yeah,
think best if I just go through that means and you'll be able to do the remaining part of the task.
yeah. Thank you for that, David. Yeah, so I think some people are actually using PowerShell, right? So PowerShell has some restrictions. I don't know. So it might not work. So it's better to use like command prompt itself. Let me see. There's difference between command prompt and PowerShell, right? So this is this is so I'm trying to open up PowerShell. Okay, so this is PowerShell, right? And how can I hide this? And this is command prompt. They are totally different, right? PowerShell is different from command prompt. I don't know why that is. So, but they works differently. They work differently, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Dora.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, please can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. So I'm trying to um install Django and I keep getting could not install packages due to an OS error. I have used
What
another, so
error?
I browsed and I saw could not install package due to an OS error. So
Okay.
the first of all was failed to write executable, failed to write executable, trying to use .delete me logic. And they wrote error, could not install packages due to an OS error.
Is it possible
Then
for you to
in
share your screen
bracket,
right now?
bin error too.
Hello, Dora.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I wrote this at first. Even the one above, this was the same thing I wrote, the same command, and then this is what came up. I've used something else. So I was browsing to see if I can like solve it, and then I wrote this. Okay, I think it has shown. I think it has been solved actually.
So
Different
can
one.
you?
I think I used pip install Django user. I also want to know why. So there was something else that happened. I tried to.
It might be because you don't have like a virtual environment activated. Is it possible for you to activate your virtual environment now, and then maybe try to check install Django on it? So it's
Okay, so
always
initially when I was trying to, yeah, so for the virtual environment, I was getting a certain error. I had to use like something else to open it up. I think, okay, so I wrote pip install virtual environment and it said already satisfied like that.
Yeah,
So
you
I
need
tried to, yes,
to activate.
then
to create a virtual
I tried to activate, and then what was that place? I tried to activate and it gave me like an error message. Yeah,
so I
it
can
said
see
it's
you
not
created the
recognized.
virtual environment. So you
Yes.
created the virtual environment. So what you need to do now is to activate it, right? So you have VENV virtual environment. So to activate it, I think you need to VENV Is it forward now, backward, script, forward, activate or something?
Okay, VENV.
VENV, scripts.
Is there a space, so I should write it together?
There should be a forward slash or backward slash. I don't know how it is on Windows.
Backward slash.
Yeah, backward slash.
Everything that.
Yeah, that the script should be like capital S, and then I think there's an S.
I think someone just posted it on the chat, the entire thing.
You can check the Zoom charts, right? You can check the Zoom charts.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a question. We were supposed to create models for Django assignment. I don't think so. Is Tim on the call? Were you supposed to create like models for Django assignments?
No, I cannot remember any about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. She stopped sharing. Anyways, let's know. David Laurie.
Okay, so good evening.
Hi, bro.
Yeah, so I wanted to actually a question that the OS error, whatever that she was talking about. I encountered it a lot. That was like 2 days ago. But the solution I saw, which worked for me, was I think when you have like different versions of Python on your system already, I think that time I had Anaconda, I already installed Python from there. Then I think I should have like Python 3.9 and 3.10 together. So I had to like uninstall everything and then now install one and then I added that one to my parts. So I think that was what actually worked for me.
So you checked so you add different versions of Python and then you had to install.
Yeah, so when you have different ones, so when I check my part, I actually saw like different, like all of them were added to parts. Like Anaconda was added to parts. The Pythons, I think there was one chocolate, whatever. Also, so it's like 3 that were in the parts. And what I saw online, they said that was just the solution. So I sorted that out like that way.
Right. You can actually have like different versions of Python on your OS. Let me show you. Like I use WSO, right? Windows Subsystem for Linux. And I have Python 2 installed. So if I just type Python, my Python 2 is what is activated, right? Python 2.7. So for me to actually use Python 3, I have to type Python 3 and then I have Python 8 installed, right? And I don't even use either of these Python versions to work. So when I work with Python 10, you get. So yeah, that's how it is on Linux anyways. So I ported from Windows like way back. So
okay, the 2 of them on your environment, like your variable, your parts, like the 2 of them.
There are different parts, right? There are different parts. Python 2 is like /Python also, and then Python 3. Yeah, they are totally different parts. So
no, I don't know. When I went to the environment variable, that's what I saw different
yeah,
ones.
If you have the folder name like will be different, right? It'll be folder like Python 2.7 something, and then there will be Python 3, blah blah blah. So you can add both to parts, and then you can have both installed.
All right, thank you. Then sorry, I wanted to ask also, yeah, that we just installed VS Code and I think we don't have many packages installed. So like there was, and I said the task of last week, I think all those from courses, imports, AGS, whatever. So basically for me to allow it to work on I had to like comment them out. But I think when I asked someone, he said I think I'm supposed to maybe install something like get pip.py or something. And then I've been trying that. Maybe I should add down to my scripts. And then I'm trying that, and it has not worked for me. I noticed that if someone, like when I checked online, that gets pip.py, once you can run it, like you have like many packages like installed alongside.
Very sure. Okay. Is this something you can share your screen and show? Because I don't really understand.
My system is dead right now. It's my phone I'm using for the call.
So you're talking about VS Code extensions, right?
Not like I think Python itself. Okay, like basically what actually brought it up was like the assignment of last. I think the class was it the file assignment, or like on top of the code there was from courses import like we had to import like 3 of them. But I could not, because anytime my VS Code kept complaining that I did not have any of it. So when I asked, so I think I did not have maybe some modules or packages installed. So I actually tried to install one manually, but then the remaining two do not work. So I now checked online. So I think I was supposed to install something like get pip.py or something.
Oh, okay. So like that's like a pip error, right? The pip installer itself.
Probably, I don't know. I just know that all those packages are not my VS Code, or they're not my Python.
So VS Code, well. So I think if you have any error on Python, like this package is cannot be found or it's not installed or something, you just need to like pip install it, right. So, but you have to make sure you have a virtual environment activated.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That time you're not using virtual environment yet, so probably that's.
So it's probably a dependency issue. Hello, do you commit the VI before that gate? No, please do not try that. Can VS Code be used Python? Can't VS Code be used if Python is giving problems? I'm not sure I understand that question. Chiamaka. Thank you, David.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, when we are pushing, are we going to add a git ignore file?
Yes, you have to like push the git ignore file, because in that file you have specified the folders or file you do not want to be pushed to GitHub, right? So for example, I'm going to share my screen again. So this is a project I'm working on, right? Do I increase this thing? Right, so this is a project I'm working on. In my git ignore, I have specified the folders, right, that I do not want to be pushed to. So you cannot add git ignore to git ignore, I don't know. Right, so you just have to push git ignore, because then when maybe you are working together with a lot of people and they have these files also, it's helps just to not push like unwanted files, most especially when you are working with keys, right? Secret keys and stuff like that. So it's always advisable to add them to git ignore. When you have like an environmental file for your keys, always add that to git ignore, right? So yep, you are going to push the git ignore to GitHub, the git ignore file to GitHub. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you answered my question. But any idea of the files we are supposed to add?
It depends on you, right? So that, I guess that would be like your project files, right? It will be files that you know are like for the project. This is for the project to run. So for example, if you are working on open source projects and you you push your project there, the files that you would push would have to be, if I pull that project to my computer, I should be able to run it, right? Maybe if I have to then configure some environmental files or some other things, those will be done like on local, right? But for me to be able to run the project, you have to send like, I don't know, the project file or something. So yep. As we continue, right, you would learn these files, right? Most especially Django. There are like PyCache files that are not really necessary for you to push, and some other files, migrations, migrations files or something. So I don't know. Godwin, who asked the last question? Shamaka, I think. For the assignment, I actually pushed the virtual environment to Git. I thought to be scored with it. I don't think that will affect your scores, but do not push your virtual environment. My VS Code is complaining of some modules or packages such as random numpy. What do we do about it? I don't know. Activate virtual environments. I think you cannot get it. Oh, all right. Always activate the interactive VS Code when you want to run Python projects. Can you please explain the secret keys? Because I don't understand. All right. So the secret key is like, for example, in Django now, a secret key is like access to your project, sort of like it's an access to your project. Anyone that has your secret key can basically manipulate your project in that sense. So it's something you would want to keep private. If you are working on a really delicate project or something. So, but for learning or stuff like that, you don't really need to keep your secret, but you can, it's a good practice anyways to start doing that. Do we have to activate virtual environment anytime we access our files, like every time we close and open it? Oh, I don't understand this question, but always work with virtual environments. When you're working with projects, like for each project, you should have different virtual environments for them. Are we pushing just our projects folders? Yes. Please, can I use Repli to do my Django task? No. I don't know. Maybe who is on the call? Eniola. Can Repli be used? I don't think so, because you have to push your files to GitHub. Russell Jaffet, IBK. Hello, IBK.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, okay. So I want to ask about.
So you can hear me?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. The tutorial on YouTube. Sorry. The tutorial on Django. I think the previous cohort or something, because there's been that on the Zurich page. That's the Python tutorial. Then there's one on Django there. So I think the person that did the tutorial used MacBook. So I just want to ask, is MacBook what's it called? Settings for those virtual environments, is it different from?
No, it is not. Right.
Because I'm getting different things from what it's getting, and it's just confusing, sincerely.
Yeah, so
I'm using Windows, but I'm not
using Mac. Right? Different OS, right, and different errors. But the virtual environment package is the same thing across all platforms, right? Linux, Mac, Windows. So once you are able to activate your virtual environment, you are basically sort of working in the same environment, so to speak, but there are still some minor differences anyways. So yeah. So is there like a particular error you are getting you would like to speak on?
I've left it since, so I can't even go back there now. I just have to let it go for now. I'm sure I'll definitely find a way around it. Sorry, the next question I want to ask. what are we supposed to learn to make us prepare for this Django? Because this Django, it looks like something else entirely to me. What are we supposed to learn in Python that we should be very good at in Python before we dive into Django?
Everything that has been taught before Django, basically.
Everything.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Then one last thing. I'm personally working on something different from what Zoe gave us, but something related, sure. But should I call it a bug or something? I'm trying to just do a particular thing and it's not working. Can I share the code?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Sorry. I don't know. What can you see my VS code? Can you see my screen? Hello.
I can see your screen. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay. This is a VS code, right? You can see VS code, right? My code, right?
Yes.
Okay, now this is a code on guessing number. Like I'm trying to build something like rock paper scissors, but this one is different though. So now the code gives us a random computer gives us a random number from 1 to 10, from 0 to 10. From 0 to 10. So now I would guess the number. So now I have 3 attempts to guess the number. So now on every attempt, I get different hints, like hint of what the number is. Probably this is the first hint. At this place to tell you if the number is an even number or odd number. Then the second hint is if by adventure you didn't get the number still after that first hint, the second hint is you guess if has to. Okay, now to tell you the range the number falls in, between 1 to 5 or between 6 to 10.
Okay.
Then the third hint is it will tell you the number multiplied by 9 will give you, and when the number is multiplied by 9, it will tell you the answer.
Okay.
So now, for me to capture this thing now, these three hints, for me to capture it, I have to. This is the game function. So now I'm counting the amount of time the game function is called. This is the count. On each count, this place is called. This is where the game starts from. So now on the first count, it will come here to check if the count is equal to 0. It will start the game. After asking for the game, then it will give them the first hint because the count is equal to 0. Do you understand?
Okay.
Then when the count is equal to 1, it will give them the second hint.
That's if they answer wrongly, right?
Yeah, that's if they answer wrongly.
Okay.
And when the count is 2, which is the third time, it will give them this hint 3.
Okay.
It is working fine. So now I need to do something. I want to put it in the sense that probably they are supposed to guess a number between 0 and 10. So now if the person inputs probably 25, that's above 10. So now I'm trying to capture it. It should tell them the number is above the required number. Do you understand? The number is above the required number. Then start all over again, which I'm using this while loop to capture.
Okay. So
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So if you're saying if the person inputs a number that is greater than the range,
greater than 10.
Right?
Yeah, this is the
right.
Yeah, this is the while loop. This is the while loop handling that.
Okay. So what is the error?
So now this while loop is working fine, but whenever this while loop is called, this count will be increasing because you are calling this function. Whenever the person enters the wrong number, the while loop this count will be increasing. So now it will affect this place. This place will be affected because the count will be more than what this place needs. Do you understand?
Okay, I think I get you.
The count will be more than what is needed.
I understand. You don't want the count to.
Yes. So now the count.
Why don't you want the count to increase? That's basically like a guess to, I don't know, to like the number.
The count will not increase because you enter the wrong number. When you enter a wrong number, it's just like you should just say no, that's the wrong number. You've not even played at all. When you enter a wrong number, you shouldn't even count it as a gameplay at all. You understand? So you shouldn't count it as a move.
When I enter a wrong number.
Yeah, like probably you enter a number that is above 10, not a wrong number, above 10. You shouldn't even count it as a move at all. You should just say, okay, this is a wrong number. The number is above the required number.
Okay, so I think what you can do is like put this like the way you did the others, put it in a function, then in your start, let it be at the top, right? Let it be at the top before.
Okay, you mean I should put this whole while loop in a different function? Is that what you say?
I'm saying you're saying before the game starts at all, right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is let it be like at the start, let it be the first thing at the start. So when the game starts, it keeps checking. And once the user is able to get while game status equals to true or whatever, then it continues.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to get
scroll down to the start function.
This is the start function.
Right. So before you start counting, before you start saying count equals to 1 or something, let that particular piece of code run first. So probably you are going to put it in a function or somewhere, right? Let that particular piece of code run. And once the user has answered what you want them to answer, then you can continue to check on the int or something.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand you. But what the situation where the person will have 3 tries.
Mm-hmm.
The person will have 3 tries. Okay, now at the first try, he entered 10, 12. Okay, this is a wrong. This number is above required number. Probably entered 2. It works. Then the person enters on the second try. The person enters 10 again. It will alter the code. I'm just thinking.
I'm not sure, but you said you want, like, before the game starts, if the person imputes a number that is above, you want that code, like, the count.
Just go back to the beginning. Just tell the person, please re-enter again. That's the wrong code. That's the wrong, what's it called? Wrong input. Not even the input is above the required number. Not even a wrong input this time. It's above the required number.
Okay. So it's still the same thing, right? When the person imputes a number that is above, right, you keep that person in that loop, right? You keep that person in that loop. And once the person imputes like the number that you want them to impute, then you continue. When you continue, you do not increase counts.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, so I should even get the number before my account even starts.
No, I'm saying when you put this in a function, when you put this from line 17 to line 32 or something, when you put it in a function and the person imputes like the number that is above, you want to call this function, right? When the person says 12, you call whatever you want to name this line 17 to line 32, whatever function name you want to give it, you call that function Abi, and then you keep that person in that function until that person answers what you want them to answer, then it breaks, right? And it continues. But when it continues, you do not increment counts.
Okay.
Yep.
No problem. I'll try that.
Yeah, thank you. You can reach out to me on Slack when you try it, right? So
I don't know your Slack.
Femi, it's just at Femi. So I have some questions on YouTube. For the Django task, please, which resource can I use to understand what I need to do? Wow. I don't know how to answer this question. Which resource? Just watch the YouTube class, right? You can check the Django documentation also. So another question here. Okay, I think that's all the question. So do I have any other hands up? David, go ahead. Hello, David. You're sounding very faint. I can hardly hear you. I cannot hear you. All right, Russell Jaffet.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Hey, hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I had a question. It's still related to the virtual environment and pushing it to Git. Now, I looked online because when the task came out, I was a little hesitant to add the VM folder to I was little hesitant to add it to Git. And when I looked online, it wasn't really clear like why you shouldn't do that. And a couple of sites mentioned that, okay, you don't want your modules to be on Git. But then say I have like the program I wrote was going to run in a specific version of Python. How do I make sure that other people running it know that that's the specific version of Python they need to use if like the virtual env folder is not going to be part of what I push to Git?
All right, very good question. So there's something called requirements.txt, right? That is when you're using a virtual environment. So a requirement.txt is like a file that contains the list of dependencies. Let me see if I have like an example I can show you here. Requirement.txt. So the requirement.txt.
Just want to say something.
Sorry, go ahead.
For that requirement for TXT, there's a video on. I said there's a video on YouTube on how to use PEEP. It did mention about that requirement.txt, but you can still go ahead.
It's muted. Right. So requirement.txt file contains the. So let me just share my screen and show you like what I mean. So this is a project, right, on GitHub, and I have my requirement.txt. I have these two packages, right, that are that specifies the version of Django and the version of Django REST framework I want. So when another person is actually using it, then they can see I have this file, and they just need to like run pip, the pip install requirement.txt. So whenever you have a requirement.txt, the first thing you want to do is pip install -r requirements.txt. So that would install like the old dependency that you have there. So that solves the issue for that. So yep. Thank you, Godwin. And yeah, you can check YouTube, as Steve mentioned. There's a video on that. Please always check the YouTube. Like the YouTube contains lots of. Sorry, Godwin. The YouTube the Python playlist on YouTube actually contains a lot of resources. Like there are topics that have been taken by 3 different mentors, right? 3 different ways of saying that particular topic. Like it's really overloaded. So Godwin, please go ahead.
All right, please. I'm currently trying to start the Django program. I've created the environment, as in the virtual environment and everything, install it. But while trying to go create the distance, it's telling me this error, that destination, this thing does not exist. Please create it first. But before I started everything at all, I created a file first on my on my documents part. Before I even started everything from the beginning, I can share my screen to show you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Destination doesn't exist. That's
okay. Okay, so this is where I started from the beginning. And
so okay, wait, before you even go for that, when you are creating the folder, do not put space for whatever reason.
Okay.
So I think that is where the issue is. When you are creating a folder, do not put space. So just fix it. That's where the issue is.
So where should I go from here now? Because this is what it's telling me. I have to create.
You see this folder that is coded get dev space. That space is dangerous.
So I'll have to create a new folder entirely.
Yes. And make sure there's no space.
But then with all this now, what do I do on my command? Do I have to uninstall Django again?
Just start the process again, right? Create a new folder, right? Now open your command prompt, cd, like change directory into that folder.
Okay.
Create a new virtual environment and activate it, and then install Django. Do you understand?
All right. But this one that I've done already, it will not affect the new one I will start.
You can just create this folder separately. You don't have to delete this one.
Hello?
I answered you. You don't have to delete this one.
Hello?
Hello? Can anyone else hear me?
Okay, so it doesn't affect. All right.
Yeah, so ATP is saying, is it just sorry, I think I missed. Hello, I'm sorry, I'm still confused. What does the Django task actually require us to do? Is it just to create the Django project folder and upload it, or do we have to go as far as including class and model thing that was demonstrated? Thank you. Eniela?
Yeah,
so can you please answer that? I don't think I mentioned before that you do not have to push modules. I think someone asked that before. I don't think the task asked you to create modules. I don't think so. So just create Python projects. Django projects, and I think that's all. Let him just rename the folder. All right, Sol. SOL.
Yeah, well done, sir. So my own problem was I pushed my first file to a GitHub repository. So I'm trying to push a second file to another repository, but it's stating remote remote origin already exists. So I tried to run a git command, remove v or something, I've forgotten, but it brings out like the link to the other folder I already pushed to the GitHub. So that's my first question. My second question is that I'm trying to get familiar with GitHub yesterday night, and I found something like add a file. So basically dragging and drop file. So I'm trying to know the difference between committing the file and basically when we can actually drag and drop file. So does this really need to commit the file? And you are mentioning .git ignore file. Please, I didn't see it in my own this thing. And one last thing is that when trying to push this thing to GitHub, so after changing directory into the folder, I have my virtual environment and the Django project in the same folder. But after pushing out to GitHub, I only find out that it's only the Django project that is showing on GitHub. So hope no problem with that. Thank you. And why is it that only the Django project is showing? Thanks.
All right. So to answer your first question, you were trying to push your code to another repository, right? And it's saying it's giving you an error. So if you're trying to push to another repository, then you will need to like change the remote URL, sort of. So there's git remote set URL. I can just copy paste that command in Zoom chats, right? So you can use this to like switch your remote URL. Git ignore, yes, you would have to create the git ignore file by So can you hear me?
Let me continue.
Okay, so I'm sorry, what was the last thing you heard? Because I think I cut off a bit. Anyways, so you said when you pushed your project, it was only pushing the Django project and not the virtual environment. Yes, that's totally how it's supposed to be. Your virtual environment should have been added to like your git ignore or something. So yeah, I wanted to share a tip on git ignore. So there is like a git ignore website that you can get templates for each project. So let me see if I can get that. I think it's gitignore.io. I can't remember the URL now. Yep. Okay. So it's gitignore.io. So when you are creating a new project, let's say in our case it's Python, right? It's automatically like it gives you suggestions of files you can copy to gitignore. So when you do this, you can just like Control A, Control V. I mean Control A, yeah, Control V this and add it to your gitignore. So you notice like in this file, you have some let's see. So there are some files that you don't want to push like to gitignore that, yeah, like init test files. You have I'm trying to show you the virtual environment one now. Yep, so you have environment, so like .env file. This is a file that holds your secret key. You have the env environment. So these are like the common ones, right? So you can check that out, gitignore.io. So if it's also node, I think I haven't checked for others, but yeah, those are like basic gitignore. Yep. So so did I answer your question?
Yeah, it remains the one I stated that I was trying to look onto or get familiar with GitHub yesterday, but I find a section that states add files and it's basically dragging and drop. So I'm trying to like know the difference between committing to my CLI and basically dragging and drop the file onto GitHub. Thank you.
Okay, so dragging and dropping, that's on like on the web app, I think. So personally, I don't advise people to use that route because using that route, you can't even drag and drop folders, right? Now imagine you are trying to commit your Django project, the folder. Do you start like uploading each file like one by one? So it's the best way is just to commit VS VS Code even made it easy now. You can install the extension, the is it, what's the extension now? Source control or something. So you can install that and then you'll be able to push like to GitHub. You can commit, yeah, you can basically, let me just share my screen and show you that. So like source control here, right? This is the extension. You can, whenever you make changes, it shows up here, and then you can commit, add your commit message. You will see the changes, blah blah blah, and then you can push, right? So yeah, you can use VS Code for that. You can also use the CLI, right? You can use the CLI also. Oh, it's too small. So you can use the CLI also. Git commit -m and the rest, right? We don't go over that. So yeah, CLI method. Do not. I don't advise you to start uploading files to GitHub, right?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So I think I'm going to take the last question now. This office hour is for 1 hour, and I've spent 1 hour 15 minutes. So, Peter, you are going to ask the last question.
Yeah. Thank you so very much.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you get me now?
Yeah, go ahead, but I can't really hear you, but just go ahead.
Wow. I've been trying to push my project onto my GitHub, but unfortunately, for every time I try, I will get an error message telling me not found, not found. So like yesterday, I still wouldn't. So I was just working and I couldn't find my way out.
Peter, I can hardly hear you. Like, no, is it possible for you to just send me an email? Like, your email is pushing your code to GitHub, right?
Let me see. Sorry about my shit. Somehow.
All right. So there's a question, how do I push to GitHub with CLI? So you would want to, let me share my screen. Oh, I just closed the project anyways. So like the first thing, you have to make sure Git is initialized in that directory, right? You would see Git initialized, and whenever you make a change, the first thing you want to do is Git, let me increase this a bit so everyone can see. So the first thing you want to do is Git add, right? And then Git add, there's a full stop there, then Git commit. So this Git commit, and then you can add like a message, this is blah blah blah, whatever change you made, and then you can do Git push, right? Git push to, yeah, Git push actually would work, or Git push origin main, or whatever the name of the branch you want to push to, right? So that's basically how you can use CLI. So there's another question here. As Node.js as NPM, Python should also have it, right? Yeah, Python has pip, but it doesn't, and Python has pip. God bless you guys. Are there other languages that require virtual environments apart from Python? Virtual environments. I don't know, you can easily Google that. But my experience with React, I don't think I have ever created virtual environments when using React. So the way React works is when you install a dependency, it's just creates like package.json or something. What is PyDrod? Oh, sorry. PyDrod is okay. Yeah, so I said that was the last question. Thank you guys for coming. So this is a recurring session. It would happen every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you guys. Peter, please, you can reach out to me on Slack because I can hardly hear you. So just at Femi, at Femi, you can reach out on Python channel, or you can send me a DM. So yeah, basically that's all from me. I don't know if any has anything to say. Steam, I don't know if Toby is on the call, or any of the Python mentors.
Hi everyone, this is Eni. Well done, Femi. Thank you for this session.
Yeah.
I think we all enjoyed it. Actually, I think we've spent quite a lot of time. I wanted to talk about virtual environments too, because it looks like so many people are having issues with virtual environments. But I think that will probably be next time when we have another office hours. We should be having one soon. So I think that will be next time. So your questions, if you still have questions, you can always drop them on the Slack channel or DM any of the mentors. But please remember, just state your problem. Don't try to hi and hello and then leave like that. Just state the issue and you'll definitely get an answer. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Annie. So there's a last question from, I think, YouTube that says, I uploaded my Django project to GitHub, and moments later, I got a mail telling about exposing my Django secret key on a public repository. Should I be worried? You should not, because this is just like a, I don't know, a side project, right? So as I mentioned, when you are working on production projects, you would not want to expose your GitHub keys, right? You would want to add them to virtual environment. So you don't have to worry about this anyways. Yes, so there's a question that says, what about poetry? Isn't it more convenient and less stressful than using virtual environment? Well, so poetry, I use poetry basically when I'm working with SDKs, because like when I'm creating SDKs, because poetry helps a lot in like some parts. How do I explain it? Like poetry helps in when you are like building your SDKs and when you are forgetting the word now. But poetry basically I use them for SDKs. And then there's another, there is pip env, right? That is another virtual environment thing that you can use, right? So the way that works is when you install like a package, it automatically adds it to the pip file. So I don't want to go into that now because that's going to confuse a whole lot of people. But you can check them, you can check it out, virtual env, pip env, poetry. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you, Eniola, for that. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. And see you next week, or no, not next week, the next class, next Python class. Yeah, bye-bye.